What's up, everybody? I'm Mr. Second Passport. If you live in Ecuador or thinking about living in Ecuador, like I do, something that might be on the back of your mind, especially since this past June, is will there be another huge strike with roadblocks and violence, like there was for 3 weeks in June? In a lot of areas in Ecuador, especially rural areas, you literally could not drive certain areas of certain roads because they had put man-made roadblocks there, and you literally could not pass. Right, just not possible. So products started to become scarce. There started to be hyperinflation of things like eggs and things of that sort. It was just not a good time to be in Ecuador. Places like Cuenca got cut off from all sides, right? And the place could have starved to death if it would have kept up. Now, will there be another big strike? Is what's on all of our minds, the Paro. And a lot of us who live down here are not very optimistic that actually probably it's just the beginning and possibly the beginning of the end down here in Ecuador. Now, I hope not. Like most of us, we all like Ecuador. That's why we moved here. But it's not looking too good, right? So let's listen to the leader himself of the indigenous movement, Leonidas Issa, and we'll get his take on the situation. June 30th, they came to an agreement to stop the strike, and now they gave the government 90 days to complete their 10 demands. But if you studied their 10 demands, like freezing or lowering the gasoline costs, they thought was going too high, but it's still way lower at like $2.40 a gallon. It's still way lower than most places in the world. Yet for these guys, it's not low enough. So they kind of have the government by the balls. I'm not sure how the government can continue to appease them. They've also made demands like $10,000 debt forgiveness for everyone. Again, it's just kind of like holding the government hostage, because this government can't just print money like in North America because they use the U.S. dollar here. So do they really have that much money laying around to be able to appease these guys? I'm thinking not. And other demands they have are just straight up Marxist. Price controls every time they've been instituted do not work and create scarcity, right? Just look at Venezuela, look at Cuba, look wherever you want to look. They just don't work, but that was one of their demands too. Price controls on certain agricultural items. It's just not going to work. This thing could be something that flares up continuously, these strikes, on the best case scenario. And the worst case scenario would be a complete takeover of the democracy we have here and a strong-handed dictator be installed. But then again, this is Latin America. This should be relatively expected. Sooner or later, the country you're in, right, a strong-armed dictator is going to come take power, and it might be time to go, depending on if you're trying to make a living or not. Maybe it won't affect you, the leadership change, but just as a retiree, but maybe it will. Vamos a votar hasta el último en estos 90 días, lo que tenga que salir. 90 days they gave the government to negotiate with them. But I have to say, who are them? Who's the president of Ecuador, democratically elected? Who is he to negotiate with this guy? Who is this guy? Who are these indigenous that all of a sudden want to negotiate with the government, right? Why does the government have to negotiate with them? That's what I don't get about this whole thing. So that would put the next paro or strike, probably accompanied with nasty roadblocks, at the end of this month of September 2022. So, y lo que no, tendremos que seguir luchando en este caso. Hemos dicho al país y hemos dicho al gobierno nacional, seamos honestos. La mesa que tiene resultados hay que decir que hay resultados. Y las mesas que no tienen resultados hay que decir al país que no tienen resultados. He's saying just in English that he has to communicate to the pueblo or the civilization here what the results of the negotiations are, for good or bad.
Tanto, no podemos tener aperturado las mesas eternamente. Hemos aprobado una
He says we can't dialogue forever.
metodología donde tenga un tratamiento máximo de 5 días. Pero en esos 5 días, si no tenemos respuestas, entonces hay que decir al país, no podemos tener aperturado. Por lo tanto, hasta el día 9 se tendrá, en las condiciones que sea, se tendrá las...
This just happened, like he's saying that basically had until the 9th of September to come to some sort of conclusions.
respuestas de las mesas que están aperturadas. Tenemos el
I don't think they got anything.
de subsidios. Mirar realmente qué de concreto tenemos allí. El tema de alivio financiero.
They want extra subsidies, he said. Financial relief in the form of debt relief, right? $10,000 or something.
Es cierto, ahí hay una resolución, pero no hay una metodología de seguimiento. El tema de control de precios.
Maybe you got that. Price controls for certain everyday items
De los
to control the inflation.
152 hemos solicitado 44 productos. ¿Es o no es controlable?
44 different products with price controls.
Dejamos en la especulación. Tenemos la mesa en este caso de fomento productivo. ¿Hay o no hay la voluntad para por lo menos tener precios referenciales para los campesinos? Y tener
at least have referential prices or special prices just for the indigenous. So maybe kind of like a Cuba-like double price system is what he's asking for here. I don't fully get that. One price for indigenous, another price for everyone else, maybe. Yeah, like that would be very good or very fair. We'll see what happens here in Ecuador, but it is something to keep in mind that maybe no one else is mentioning right now, but maybe they should. I'm Mr. Second Passport. Take care.